Israeli airstrikes in Gaza have intensified tonight as an unprecedented attacking underway as internet connection has been completely lost and media outlets and organizations are unable to reach their members in the region. Authorities in Egypt confirmed that at least 6 people were injured by a falling shell in the city of Taba, located next to the border with Israel. An official report on Catholic Church pederasty in Spain shows that about 440,000 people might have been victims of sexual abuse by its clergy. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll begin with the news. Stay with us. Forces launched the deadliest attack on the Gaza Strip. Authorities announced that the aggression has completely cut off internet and electricity services. Images showed how the detonations hit residential areas in Gaza, causing a complete destruction of the power grid. The Palestinian telecommunications company also announced a total shutdown of all communications and internet services, while multiple attacks on several areas of the Gaza Strip from the air, land, and sea are also being reported, which is worsening the situation of hundreds of Gazan hospitals. Meanwhile, the spokesman for the Israeli occupation forces declared that the army will seek to expand its ground operation inside Gaza. In this context, the Palestinian Red Crescent warned about the impact of the total loss of communications in the health system of the Gaza Strip on the work of its ambulance team, as emergency teams continue to rescue the abandoned following the upcoming Israeli bombardment of residential areas from various points. The agency calls on the international community to pressure the occupation to cause shelling on armed civilians, medical teams, and health facilities. The United Nations warned on Friday that many more will die as a result of Israel's ongoing side of Gaza, which has also caused sewage to follow the streets on the Palestinian territory.
We speak, people in Gaza are dying. They are not only dying from bombs and strike. Soon, many more will die from the consequences of siege imposed on the Gaza Strip. What needs more support? Bakeries, water station, life support machine in a hospital, all this needs fuel to function.
The World Food Programme warned on Friday that due to the constant airstrikes and lack of resources in Gaza, only 2 of the 24 bakeries contracted by the organization are operational, and the remaining ones are struggling to meet the demands. The director of the World Food Programme of the Palestinian territory, Samir Abdeljaber, said that the factories are not functioning. Also, functioning bakeries for bread.
In Gaza, bakeries are struggling to meet the demand due to lack of fuels. Mills are not operating also because of lack of fuel. People are risking their lives and queuing for hours in the bakeries that are functioning to secure bread. Many of them are going home empty-handed. The concept of a hot meal in Gaza doesn't exist for the time being. The bakeries contracted by WFP before the crisis were around 24. Today there are only 2 operating, and simply we're not able to meet the demand of all the people that are residing in the...
In this context, people in the area Al-Balad in the Gaza Strip gathered to fill containers with water on Friday, and others gathered on horses pulling carts outside of the water station as the need for water growth. The water station used to be able to put out water 24 hours a day, but then it ran out of fuel, depriving nearby residents of their Al-Balad of their main source of water. The United Nations delivered additional fuel recently to the station, allowing it to function just 2 hours a day from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. local time each morning. On Thursday, authorities in Egypt confirmed at least 6 people were injured by the falling shell in the city of Taba, located next to the border with Israel. According to local hospital sources, 5 patients have been discharged after receiving the necessary treatment, while medical personnel are trying to stabilize the 6 injured. The investigation committee of the security forces has arrived at the scene and has launched an investigation to determine the circumstances. He projectiles has also caused significant material damage, including direct damage to a set of ambulances and a residential building, as sent to a medical team. Let's take a very first break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok account, teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. In Guatemala, the dialogue continues between the cooperation sector, the ancestral authorities, and Bernardo Arevalo, president-elect. President-elect Bernardo Arevalo met on Thursday with the third time behind a closed door with representatives of the cooperative sector and indigenous leaders, holding dialogues with them regarding the national situation. According to the Vice President-elect Karin Herrera, a consensus among the representatives has not yet been reached.
We are happy to be here representing each one of the peoples and representing those Guatemalans who have the will to be here, but because of limitation to their work cannot do it, as well as the National Civil Police who have been very supportive of the people of Guatemala. We thank them, as other public officials who have also said that they give their support, but they are afraid of being prosecuted and cannot make it public because the fear is what is influencing them. Let's not leave Guatemala. We are more and we have elected officials and we deserve respect.
The president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, presented on Thursday his candidacy for the second term in office ahead of general elections on February the 4th, 2024. Bukele and his running mate, Vice President Felix Uola, filed their documents with the Supreme Electoral Tribunal. The incumbent ruler announced last year that he will seek another term after the Supreme Court allowed him to run for re-election, sparking intense debate over its constitutionality. Critics have questioned the legality of the second consecutive term. Local media highlighted on Thursday that in Panama, police repression continues during the fourth consecutive night of protests against the mining contract between the state and the Canadian mining company. The demonstrators demand the abrogation of Law 406 of the mining contract, which will give a 20-year concession to the Canadian mining company, considered unconstitutional by the justice system. In Colombia, citizens are getting ready for the regional elections on Sunday, October the 29th, which seeks to elect different authorities in the country. On October the 29th, the Colombian population will carry out a democratic exercise in which the new departmental and municipal authorities of the country will be elected, who will govern from 2024 to 2027. Justice sentences 11 policemen to 50 years in prison for the Argo massacre in the Tamaulipas, northeastern Mexico. They were convicted of having murdered 19 people 3 years ago. The defendants tortured, got out, and then burned their bodies. 16 of all the victims were Guatemalan migrants and 3 were locals. The reports issued by the authorities stated that the defendants manipulated the crime scene and made some evidence disappear in order to simulate a different incident and avoid responsibility. On Friday, Sundinsin and the Grenadines, Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves announced benefits for different sectors of society, including nurses, farmers, and students during his speech at the 44th anniversary day parade. The Inconsalves unveiled a package of measures during the national holiday, including an increase in the minimum wage in January and a non-taxable payment equivalent to 5% of their salary for nurses in certain categories. He also noted that families with debts owed to local hospitals will be the grant and exceptions, and interest rates on students' loans will be reduced.
I want you to listen to me particularly carefully as I make 16 specific announcements of real immediacy. First, as of January 2024, the salary threshold below which no personal income tax is charged will be increased from the current $22,000 annually to $25,000. Workers will pay less taxes as from January next year.
In this context, Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves also announced a new select summit to be hosted next year by the Caribbean nation as it holds the pro tempore presidency of the organism.
The first quarter of next year, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as the pro tempore president of CELAC, the Community of States of Latin America and the Caribbean, will host a summit here. CELAC, as you know, is the premier integration mechanism in our hemisphere, consisting of 33 member states.
And now shifting topics, the Santiago 2023 Pan American Games continue in Chile. We go live with journalist Eduardo Regonesi. Hi Eduardo, what can you tell us of today's sporting events?
Hello, good afternoon. We're here live at the Peñalolén Park in Santiago, Chile, where it's all about beach volleyball right now. Right behind me, the finals and semifinals on the men's side and the women's side are taking place. Earlier a couple of minutes ago, the women's semifinal just concluded. Argentina lost to the United States couple 2-0. Right now, it's the men's bronze match happening right now. It's the Grimaldo Cousins, the Chilean Cousins are playing against the United States. It's very, very loud here. I can barely hear you. It's 1-1 right now. You can probably hear the crowd. The Chileans just scored a point. They are hoping to secure a bronze medal for their home crowd. They were hoping to make it to the final. Yesterday they lost to Brazil, but maybe a bronze medal is going to be a good consolation prize for these Cousins. Later on today we're going to move to Brazil. Brazil is facing Canada in the women's final, playing for gold, and also Brazil is going to be playing Cuba for the gold on the men's side around 7 p.m. tonight. So Brazil hoping to get the 1-2 to get double gold in men's and women's beach volleyball. Let's do a quick recap of the sports of today. Earlier this morning we had basketball. We're in the group stage. On the women's side where Brazil defeated Colombia and Venezuela defeated Mexico. This is on the women's side. Also on the men's side on field hockey, Brazil defeated Trinidad and Tobago 2-1, while the United States lost to Canada in the same sport 1-2. Let's talk baseball real quick. Baseball, Colombia defeated Panama this morning, and Mexico right now is winning against Brazil. No matter what happens on that game, Brazil already has a secure spot on the final against Colombia. Let's talk about Colombia. We said it before, we said it on the other newscast. Colombia did not win a game until the very last group stage match against Venezuela, where they won that game, and after that, on the super group stage, they have been unstoppable. They won all their games, and they secure a spot on the final against Brazil. Unprecedented match. None of these teams have played for gold before, so it's going to be a very exciting one. Brazil already defeated Colombia on the group stage 8-7, but we know playing for gold, it's a whole different crowd right now. Apparently the Chilean team is about to win because the crowd is going crazy. But right before that, I want to do a little spotlight on Guatemala's performance at the Pan American Games. Guatemala, you're not going to see their flag, you're not going to hear their anthem. They are competing under the Pan Am flag because they had problems off the field, they've been banned, but they're competing nonetheless, and they already have 3 gold medals. They won 3 golds in shooting and racquetball, and they are in 9th place right now. on top of teams like Argentina and other teams that are stronger, generally stronger in this type of competition. So way to go, Guatemala. Great results for them as of now. As we're saying, the crowd is going crazy right behind us. We're going to jump from here to the volleyball field to see all the action of this game and the two finals that are coming up after this. This is our report from Santiago, Chile. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Eduardo Regonesi, for reporting for us from Chile at the Pan-American Games. And now let's take our last break. But before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch on interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. This is Robert and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. We'll follow a short break. Don't go away. Welcome back. The first official report on pederasty in the Spanish Catholic Church revealed on Friday devastating data. 1.13% of the current adult population is suffering abuse by the cleric, which will mean about 440,000 people. In the historic investigation commissioned by the Congress in March 2022 and carried out by the Ombudsman, Spain goes from being one of the few Catholic countries without officially recognized cases of pederasty to being the one with the highest protection of victims. After decades of opacity and cover-up, the 700 pages text reveals through a survey of the 8,000 people that 0.6% of the population, some 240,000 people, have been victims of abuse committed directly by the priest or a religious. Serbia and Kosovo reject the Council of Europe's latest proposal to advance in the agreements of normalization. On Thursday, the High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs, Josep Borrell, confirmed the response of Serbia and Kosovo to the latest proposal for agreements on the normalizations of relations between Belgrade and Pristina. In Bangladesh, the Director General of Health Services reported on Friday that the number of deaths from dengue fever exceeded 1,300 so far in the year of 2023. According to the press release, 1,302 deaths from the disease caused by the bite of that infected mosquito were reported from January to the previous date. The health department reported that this is the highest number of deaths seen the year 2000, when the first case of dengue fever was detected in the country. In Mexico, Secretary of Infrastructure, Communication and Transport unfolded the opening air bridge in the Guerrero state for tourism to Acapulco. The Secretary took such measure as control power of the international airport got recovered after being affected by the violent Hurricane Otis. Social media, the federal dependency of Guerrero, detailed that as of October the 27th, the air bridge will be open, covering Acapulco, Mexico City, the destination, and evacuating tourists who were in the area by the time of the hurricane hit Guerrero. We have come to the end of this news brief, but before saying goodbye, we want to thank our Caribbean audience, especially the audience of Trinidad and Tobago. We are pleased to share our newscasts and contribute to provide an alternative news sources to the latest world events. Take you live stories of the people of the South and break the hegemonic media. So you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and also join us on our socials. We're on X, on Instagram, and on Facebook as well. For teleSUR English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.